On this Monday night, the U.S. lays out its case against Huawei.
We are deeply grateful to the Government of Canada for its assistance and its steadfast commitment to the rule of law.
As Washington faces off against a Chinese tech giant and moves to extradite Meng Wanzhou, where does that leave Canada?
No matter what the sentence is, he has to live with this for the rest of his life.
A difficult day for the families and survivors of the Humboldt crash as they face the convicted driver. The impact of their emotional statements.
I don't function properly. I don't do anything in class. I fall asleep.
This is me trying to stay awake now.
Teens and sleep deprivation. More common than you think, and it can have serious health effects. But what's keeping them up at night? This is The National.
Canadians have gotten to know Chinese telecom giant Huawei and its chief financial officer Meng Wanzhou all too well. Her arrest last month has triggered the worst diplomatic dispute between Ottawa and Beijing in some time, and now we have a full account of why. The U.S. has charged both Meng and her company with multiple counts of fraud and wire fraud. Tonight, we'll have the impact in Ottawa, where the government is still reeling from a political casualty of the dispute, now former ambassador to China, John McCallum, and we'll have the latest on China's next move. But first, we go to Washington, where the Department of Justice unveiled the charges that set everything in motion. In two separate indictments involving 23 counts, prosecutors laid out the case that has kept Canada caught in the middle of a dispute between two global powers. Our Paul Hunter breaks down the charges.
That the U.S. believes Meng Wanzhou has committed serious crimes is no secret, but the depth of the allegations against her and Huawei, the giant Chinese tech company she helps run, unveiled today in Washington, is stunning.
The criminal activity alleged in this indictment goes back at least 10 years and goes all the way to the top of the company.
Meng, who was detained last month in Vancouver while the U.S. seeks her extradition, faces a litany of charges. Consider some of the language in court documents made public today: conspiracy, fraud, false representations, money laundering.
There are additional troubling allegations in the indictment as well, including that Huawei lied to the federal government and attempted to obstruct justice by concealing and destroying evidence and by moving potential government witnesses back to China.
At the heart of the allegations, that Huawei skirted U.S. sanctions on Iran, doing business there through banks in the U.S. via a subsidiary called Skycom. Huawei long denied links with Skycom, but said the U.S. today that was a lie and a brazen one. What's more,
Huawei also intentionally and systematically sought to steal valuable intellectual property from an American company.
Corporate espionage. The allegation Huawei stole trade secrets, specifically plans for this robotic smartphone tester from a U.S. company. But beyond the charges, the key U.S. message today is that Huawei can't be trusted. Long linked to the Chinese government as it leads the push toward a global 5G network, many label Huawei a spy for China that threatens all who deal with it.
We have to carefully consider the risks that companies like Huawei pose if we're going to allow them into our telecommunications infrastructure.
All of it a key step in the U.S. getting Meng out of Canada and into this country to face those charges in person. An extradition hearing now looms as the U.S. Justice Department awaits. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Meng Wanzhou has said all along that she is innocent, and late today, the BC Supreme Court announced she'll make her next appearance in Vancouver tomorrow morning to discuss her bail conditions. Of course, it is Canada's role in Meng's arrest that has created this rift between Ottawa and Beijing, one that is deepening by the day and calling into question the Prime Minister's handling of the file. Katie Simpson explains.
For 6 weeks, Meng Wanzhou has been held in this Vancouver home, waiting for the Americans to make their move. Throughout it all, Ottawa has refused demands from the highest levels of power in China to release the Huawei executive, and Washington has noticed.
We are deeply grateful to the Government of Canada for its assistance and its steadfast commitment to the rule of law.
Canada's commitment has made it China's target. In the wake of Meng's arrest, Beijing arbitrarily detained 2 Canadians and sentenced a third to death on drug charges. These new detailed accusations may complicate matters further.
What it does basically is that it strengthens the argument in favor of extradition.
Opinions on the extradition case are a sensitive matter. John McCallum knows that after being fired as ambassador to China on Friday. He twice publicly argued the U.S. does not have a strong extradition case, embarrassing the government by appearing to side with Beijing in the dispute.
What's important here is that we stick to our guns, that our allies are the Americans and not the Chinese in this case.
On the first day in the new House of Commons, the Conservatives jumped at the opportunity to accuse the government of mismanaging the situation.
The Liberal government has played politics with this serious diplomatic dispute with China from the start.
The only people playing political games when 2 Canadians are in a difficult situation are the members opposite, and that is truly reprehensible.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says despite McCallum's firing, Ottawa's work to ease tensions continues full speed.
This situation last week is unfortunate. It in no way changes our government's direction.
On top of all of that, the government still has to decide whether to allow Huawei to be a part of Canada's 5G wireless network. Canada's closest security allies, including the U.S., have already banned the tech giant. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
So why all this concern over Huawei? Well, in short, it wants to, as Katie mentioned there, build this high-speed, next-gen internet network around the world. But the company's links to the Chinese ruling class has made plenty of governments nervous. Canada is the only country in the Five Eyes that hasn't blocked or restricted Huawei's plans over security concerns. The U.S., Australia, and New Zealand have frozen the company out from their 5G networks. The U.K. has set out stringent security rules, and several other countries are in the process of debating restrictions or bans. Earlier this month, Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale said they're looking into it.
We will not compromise national security. We will make the appropriate analysis and take the decision ultimately that we believe to be in Canada's interest.
When asked, Goodale wouldn't say when the government would make a decision. So as Canada considers its next move, what about China? Huawei has become the largest telecom equipment manufacturer in the world, so there's a lot at stake for the Chinese government. Let's bring in our Asia correspondent, Sasha Petrusik. He's in Beijing, where it's already Tuesday morning. Sasha, give us a sense of what we might expect in terms of reaction from China today.
Well, Rosie, just a few hours, I expect some pretty angry, indignant reaction, the same sort of thing that we've seen leveled against Canada over the past few weeks, but to a larger and louder degree. You know, this is China's largest and most important tech company. It's been portrayed as that, and it's being accused of fraud and some very serious other crimes. This is exactly the sort of thing that the United States has accused China in general. So it is symbolic of this larger debate that's been going on, this larger battle. Huawei itself is also symbolic because it is a source of national pride here. So, you know, this is going to play into this Chinese theme that we've seen develop over the past number of years, which is that China is rising, that it is in fact taking its rightful place on the world stage, but at the same time that the Western world, and especially the United States, is trying to do everything it can to keep China down, politically, militarily, and economically. So that's what to expect. The question will be whether some of the vitriol now that is being directed at Canada will shift south of the border. Rosie?
Sasha Petrusik in Beijing. Thanks, appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And while this drama with China plays out, the families of Canadians detained there will have to keep waiting for answers. Let's turn, though, now to another big story here in Canada. Emotions running very high in Saskatchewan tonight, Ian.
Rosemary, families of the victims and survivors of the Humboldt bus crasher in Melfort, Saskatchewan. This was the first day of victim impact statements, so the first time that they could speak directly to the man responsible for the crash. Our Susan Ormiston has been following this story from the very beginning. She's in Melfort too, speaking to those families as they process their grief, anger, and even compassion for Jaskirat Singh Sidhu.
Melfort, a prairie town much like Humboldt. Frigid this morning as families of young hockey players and Humboldt Broncos staff made the trek to a makeshift court in a community center, still trying valiantly to make sense of their enormous loss. Jaskirat Singh Sidhu, the truck driver, spared them a trial, pleading guilty to dangerous driving causing death and injury. But still, no explanation in agreed facts presented today why he barreled through a stop sign at highway speed. No cell phone distraction, nothing obscured his vision, and the road was good. The results, catastrophic. Players and staff thrown from the bus, 16 died, 13 more badly injured. The truck cab tipped, but Sidhu was able to walk away. A scarring fate as he and some families sat through hours of tears and anger. The Boulets lost their son Logan. Bernadine told the court she's broken-hearted.
Death just seems so final, and I know my son's not coming home. I know he's not going to come and lay on the couch. But I'm just kind of not ready for that yet, and I know he's not going to be there, but the word death is final and not where I want to be.
Toby said he can't forgive yet.
It's just a process that we're going through to get to peace, and to get to peace will come forgiveness. We're just not there yet. I'm not sure struggling is the right word, but we're just not there in our journey.
The Lucan family, last fall at the Broncos Memorial, but sobbing here today as Connor's mother said, "I'm here today to look at the man who was responsible. I have no forgiveness. Your senseless lack of care changed everything. I want you to see and feel the pain you have caused." Caleb Dahlgreen survived the crash. He's not here. His father spoke about Sidhu.
I mean, he's human. I can't imagine that he wouldn't feel the impact of what's happened. And no matter what the sentence is, he has to live with this for the rest of his life.
The families do want resolution, not only a prison term, but stiffer trucker training and seatbelts.
I just want this to never happen again. That's one of the biggest things for me. One small action or inaction can cause so much damage.
Tomorrow, in this sports gym turned court, more painful statements, cathartic but intense, like Scott Thomas's letter to his son Evan.
I know that he's listening wherever he is. Hopefully not a letter goodbye. I don't know that there'll ever be a goodbye.
Susan, so many emotional moments for the families today, but what about the driver of the truck? What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, Sidhu sat with his lawyers at a table. He had 7 family members in the first row supporting him, and incredibly tough day for him as well. There were many moments, but one I remember particularly came from Marilyn Cross. She's the mother of Mark Cross, the assistant coach, 28-year-old who died. And I want to read a little bit of what she said, looking directly at Sidhu. She said, "I grieve for you as well. I don't hate you. I see you as a young man, just like my son Mark. I grieve for the loss your family will experience, for the loss of your freedom and your future. I'm so relieved that you pleaded guilty, and I applaud your courage for doing so. In your future, I hope you make every effort to make this world a better place, just like my son Mark would have done." And with that, Sidhu reached for a tissue and buried his eyes, bowing his head. It was an extraordinary day, Ian, one no one in that courtroom will ever forget.
This is a story right from the beginning with the crash has been filled with so many powerful emotions, and I know more are to come this week. Thanks, Susan.
All right.
Let's turn now to Venezuela, a part of the world facing great upheaval from within and from the outside. The international community is moving to further isolate Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, and Canada is one of those countries leading the charge.
I am today announcing that Canada will host an urgent meeting of the Lima Group of countries here in Ottawa.
The Lima Group is made up of 12 countries convened specifically to address Venezuela's crisis. They're coming to Ottawa next Monday. On the agenda, boosting support for Maduro's rival, opposition leader Juan Guaido. The U.S. also declared sanctions today against state-owned oil until Maduro hands power over to Guaido.
The United States is holding accountable those responsible for Venezuela's tragic decline.
It is a potentially crippling blow for Maduro, but also for regular everyday people. They're already living through an economic catastrophe, and right now, 40% of the country's oil goes to the United States. But while Canada, the U.S., and others throw their support to the opposition, Russia has placed an awfully big bet on Maduro. And as Chris Brown reports from Moscow, over there, this crisis plays very differently.
Владимир Путин говорил уже со своим коллегой Николасом Мадуро.
Nicolas Maduro called his last meeting with Vladimir Putin in December the most useful of his career, and no wonder. Russian state companies wrote him some big checks, bringing Russia's exposure in Venezuela to $17 billion, much of it at risk if Maduro goes.
Соединенные Штаты организовали еще один государственный переворот.
The United States has again organized a government overthrow, screamed a host on Russian state TV. It's gone wall to wall with its Venezuela coverage. They just want to get the oil. With the largest reserves of oil in the world, Russia's giant state oil company Rosneft has gone all in on Venezuela, reportedly bankrolling a $6 billion loan to be paid off down the road. Last month, Russia flew in a pair of nuclear-capable bombers to underscore the long-standing military partnership between the two countries. It includes billions of dollars of Russian loans for Venezuela to buy Russian weaponry. Russian opposition figure Alexei Navalny, who's banned from challenging Putin in elections, but still has a viewership of millions on his YouTube channel, noted that Russians could get a lot of their own roads and hospitals fixed up with all the cash that's at risk.
Some political and economic risk for Russian investments and assets in this country.
Venezuela expert Dmitry Rosenthal says he believes by now the Kremlin is likely hedging its bets, trying to make some deals with the opposition, even though the Kremlin denies it.
I think that we have some capability to build some constructive dialogue with the pragmatic part of Venezuela opposition.
Losing money is far from Russia's only worry. Strategically, Venezuela is Russia's best means of projecting its power into the Western Hemisphere. Without Maduro, Russia's global reach is weakened. Chris Brown, CBC News, Moscow.
And recently, in certain hotspots where deniability and discretion are needed, Russia has used the shadowy mercenary outfit known as the Wagner Group. And according to Reuters, sources say up to 400 Wagner contractors were dispatched to Venezuela to protect Maduro in the current crisis. The Kremlin has denied those reports.
Now to some of the developing stories we're watching tonight on The National. Extreme cold and heavy snow affecting lots of Canada tonight. And let's take a live look at Toronto, where there is a winter storm warning. Snow has been heavy. Forecasters are warning it will likely have a significant impact on the morning commute. Up to 25 centimeters of snow expected in some areas. Dozens of flights have been canceled tonight at Toronto's Pearson Airport. The heavy snow is making it tough for people to get around. One of the city's subway lines, Line 3, has been closed, and police, not surprisingly, encouraging people to stay home if at all possible tonight. Alleged serial killer Bruce McArthur expected in a Toronto court tomorrow, and police say there is a significant development in the case. McArthur is charged with the murders of 8 men who had connections to the city's gay village. They went missing between 2010 and 2017. Their remains were found at a home where McArthur worked as a landscaper. His trial is scheduled for next year.
And still ahead on The National, call them Generation Sleep Deprived. In our latest story in our series on sleep, we go in depth on why Canadian teenagers aren't getting enough rest.
But first, he blames Instagram for his daughter's death, how social media platforms are responding, and taking responsibility for hateful content.
And later in our moment, it's a first for MPs in Ottawa, how they are adjusting to life in the West Block.
I will say this, I don't know how to hide from you guys yet. I don't know the way to avoid the media scrums, so, you know, that a secret for as long as I'll be exploring the back pathways in coming days.
Her family describes her as an enthusiastic teenager with a bright future, which made it all the more shocking when one morning before school, Molly Russell took her own life. It was only then that her parents made a disturbing discovery about what she'd been viewing online. Molly's death has now prompted a debate in the UK about the responsibility of social media sites to remove harmful content. And now, as Kayla Hounsell tells us, the government is threatening a ban if companies don't comply.
Like a lot of teen girls, Molly Russell spent time on social media. What her family didn't know was that she had been looking at content linked to anxiety, depression, self-harm, and suicide. She took her own life just over a year ago. She was 14.
I have no doubt that Instagram helped kill my daughter.
Her family is now speaking out, calling for change.
It's as distressing to me as anyone, really.
Facebook, which owns Instagram, says it is already taking steps to blur images, block a number of hashtags, and continue working with suicide awareness groups.
We will do whatever it takes in order to try and make this environment safer online, particularly for youngsters.
In a matter of days, Molly's story sparked outrage across the UK after the BBC first aired her story. One charity that works to prevent youth suicide says it has heard from 30 families who believe social media played a part in their children's deaths. Now the UK government is threatening to ban sites, likely by forcing service providers to block certain IP addresses.
It would be far better to do it in concert with the social media companies, but if we think they need to do things that they are refusing to do, then we can and we must legislate.
Others are hoping social media sites can use their technology to help.
I would like to see that we're able to use those sorts of algorithms to promoting more positive content. So actually, when people are searching for certain things, what they're getting is lots of positive content that supports them.
Instagram already offers messages of support to people looking at harmful content, but the company is reviewing its policies to see if it can do even more. None of it will bring Molly Russell back, but her family is hoping her story will prompt companies and government to do more to save lives. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, London.
If you or someone you know needs help, you can call Crisis Service Canada anytime. The number is right there on your screen. It won't cost you anything. Or you can head over to their website and you can just talk to someone online.
Still ahead on The National, Canada's biggest bank is apologizing after an error with one of its mortgages, creating big confusion for customers.
And it's being called an epidemic. Why Canadian teenagers are skipping out on much-needed sleep.
I'd be listening to like what they read up on the board, and I just feel my head dip, and I'd shoot right back up. It was pretty bad.
The National is going in-depth into how Canadians sleep, why it's so important and elusive. About a third of Canadian kids and adults don't get enough sleep. Now for teens, enough is generally around 8 to 10 hours, and not getting that has been linked to problems with memory, concentration, motivation, school performance. So now, for the last chapter of our series on sleep, Duncan McHugh takes a look at the young and the sleepless.
She's 18 and eager to graduate from high school, but Hannah Waters is struggling to cross the finish line. She likes school, especially music and art. Trouble is, on average, Hannah's only sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night.
I've talked with my doctor about it and my parents and stuff, and we're still trying to find ways for me to get enough sleep and what might work. I didn't really get any sleep last night, so this is me trying to stay awake now, actually.
The wheels on the bus roll bright and early. 7:35 a.m. she arrives at Smiths Falls District Collegiate. Classes start at 8:10. As Hannah's day unfolds, it's not just learning that's difficult, it's staying awake.
I generally feel pretty sick when I don't get enough sleep, and I often get kind of shaky and nauseous. I feel really ashamed because I keep saying, well, I'll get this done countless times, and I don't, and I know why, but I'm not finding a way to fix it.
She's not alone. Teenagers' body clocks are naturally geared to stay up late, but many of Hannah's friends and peers get by on 6 hours of sleep or less.
I had problems with almost falling asleep in class. I'd be listening to like what they read up on the board, and I'd just feel my head dip and I'd shoot right back up. It was pretty bad.
Like your brain isn't awake to understand everything, and then call on you, and you don't know the answer, and then you kind of just freeze.
Sometimes I don't even go. Like, I will fake sick and I'll stay in bed all day. I don't function properly. I don't do anything in class. I fall asleep. I snap at people. It's not good.
Dr. Indra Narang, director of sleep medicine at the Hospital for Sick Children, sees all kinds of sleep-deprived children, from 2-year-olds to teenagers. Her patients usually suffer severe sleep disorders.
There are really alarming studies in that group.
But she sees a disturbing trend among teens, what she calls an epidemic of sleep deprivation.
It's not uncommon for me to see teenagers in my clinic who are telling me that on school nights they're going to bed at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and getting up at 7 a.m. to go to school. And those group of children are also at increased risk of cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease downstream, certainly depression, mood changes.
Okay, so female, and then grade 9. And then 8, in general, I feel anxious, worried, or stressed. D, often.
That lack of sleep and the negative effects that it brings intrigued Quinn Atkinson and Lizzie Horsey. For this year's science fair, the grade 10 students decided to investigate why their classmates constantly complain of fatigue.
And we were like, what's going on? Yeah. Why is everybody in our school so tired?
Basically, we wanted to know if it was more of a bandwagon thing, like everybody just like, oh, they're tired, I'm just gonna say I'm tired, or if they were like genuinely actually like tired and actually needed sleep, and if they were gonna go home and actually take a nap, or if they were just saying they were.
I have trouble falling asleep right away once I try to go to sleep. C, sometimes.
They designed a questionnaire, including a survey commonly used to detect sleeping disorders, and had students complete it anonymously.
That's so cool. I know. When the judges come, we can be like, haha, yeah.
They got over 300 responses, then prepared to present their findings.
That's cute.
I like it. And then you can...
Yeah.
It's the day of the big science fair.
I'm Lizzie, and this is Quinn, and today our science fair is on sleep. We drew conclusions, we analyzed our data, we created graphs like these, and we did
The duo is pumped to share their results with the judges.
The average of our sample size got 7.67 hours of sleep on a school night.
It was kind of funny because some people got 3 hours and some people got 12, so it kind of balanced out.
Among their findings, nearly 2/3 of their peers surveyed arrived to school sleep deprived. 32% reported excessive sleepiness, with a handful so lacking in sleep it could require medical intervention.
Now I feel like I need to sleep more because I'm scared.
I know, I'm so scared of being sleep deprived.
Their small project mirrors national studies that say adolescents get less sleep than ever before. So what exactly is keeping many of these students from getting the sleep they need? Dr. Narang has been asking the same question.
When we asked these adolescents, what they were doing, it was social media played a big role in their sleep disturbance. So they have the phone in the room, it's vibrating at night, and they pick up the phone and they're responding to the text message. They will fall asleep again, of course, But if you do that multiple times a night, it really lends to a significant amount of sleep deprivation.
Okay, so technology, how much of that is that a problem with in terms of trying to get to bed?
For me, it's quite a problem because I'll be on my phone and I have people texting me and messaging my phone, and I'll look at it and then I'll be up on.
Indeed, most teens are well aware too much screen time sabotages their sleep.
I think tech has a huge part of like why students have trouble sleeping. It's kind of addicting.
Yeah. My guy friends like stay up till like 3 playing video games or texting their other friends.
I do know some girls would probably do the same thing too, like be on their phones or whatever, like just kind of doing whatever.
Okay, so tech is an issue. What do you think about how that may impact you?
I've been seeing that my grades have been dropping a bit since I'm not getting enough sleep.
My grades were at like between 90s and 100s. Now they're at 70s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so talk to So me the about students that. know their grades are affected. They know they need more sleep. But what can they do about it?
You need to build in some relaxation time so your body can sleep. Like, you need to take care of yourself.
This wellness class is geared towards educating teens about sleep and empowering them to speak up about what might help.
Do you think that the school boards will have a conversation about moving the school later in the day and having us like start at maybe like 10 or 11 and go to 4 so we have that actual required amount of sleep?
There have been a few pilot projects in Ontario, a lot in the States and a lot in the UK doing that. And it's been really successful. It's a good discussion and something that should be up for debate.
Veronica Horsey, a concerned parent and chair of the school council, saw a need for this class. She comes in and talks to the kids regularly.
So did you know you have a hormonal night shift? When you hit puberty, you actually switch your body clock. So naturally you get tired up to 2 hours later. So when you're a child,
She says waking students up to the importance of sleep is a start, but it's parents who need to get the message.
Well, I think number one, adults need to model it. I think us ourselves, we're bad examples. I think we push the limits, we don't get enough sleep, we're irritable, we're moody. Most people think that it's a teenager's responsibility to get their sleep. And there's a lot of truth to that. They can control their devices and things like that. But I think that parents, just want it to happen overnight, and it's not going to.
Everything catches up with someone at one point or another. It'll 100% catch up with me at a later date, but right now, I just got to focus on the present and sadly not the future.
It's not the greatest because I do want a good education. I do want to be awake for my classes and be able to pass to get into my future goals in life.
I often say, tonight I'll try to get sleep. Tomorrow I'll be able to get everything done, I'll remember everything. But of course tomorrow I'm just going to be really tired and I don't get stuff done and I feel the same. I really wish I could get more sleep.
When the school day is finally done, Hannah is worn out. Sleep seems an impossible dream, but talking about solutions is a first step. Now the hard part, getting a good night's rest. Duncan McHugh, CBC News, Smiths Falls, Ontario.
And if you missed it, you can see all of the national sleep coverage, from Duncan McHugh's look at sleep's connection to memory, to the challenge of conditions like apnea, to a panel discussion with medical experts. You can find it on our YouTube channel.
Still ahead on the national new year, new House of Commons. MPs were back on the Hill for the first time in 2019 today, and let's just say the West Block is taking some adjusting to.
It's like the first day of school, right? You're trying to find your way around. Where's your class? All that stuff. So we've been given these handy maps, trying to find our way around and everything, and takes some getting used to, but I think we'll manage.
And later this week on The National, Adrian sits down with one of Time magazine's Persons of the Year, journalist Maria Ressa. Here's a preview.
It was one thing to know she'd been chosen by Time as a guardian of the truth. Quite another for Maria Ressa to realize every other honored journalist, like Jamal Khashoggi, had been murdered or jailed.
I was the only one of the 4 that was both alive and free.
I went through lots of emotions.
There are reasons for the Filipino journalist to be afraid. The Duterte government has tried to shut down the news organization she runs and is trying to jail her. But she pushes ahead, exposing social media networks that spread lies and hate and damage democracies. Her warning for Canada this election year, you're not immune.
Prime Minister Trudeau was the only world leader that during APEC called out the Philippines and President Duterte for human rights violations. Who is the voice for these, right? If you guys are that, you're the target.
Brace yourselves, Canada, she says. This country is about to be tested. Ressa's research, her advice, her story, this week on The National.
Here's some of the other stories we're watching tonight on The National. U.S. President Donald Trump will deliver his State of the Union address next week. It was supposed to take place tomorrow, but was postponed because of the government shutdown. Now that that's been resolved, at least temporarily, the U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi invited Trump to speak on February the 5th to a joint session of Congress. Trump has accepted the invitation.
You know, I look forward to Director Mueller delivering the final report.
That is the acting U.S. Attorney General Matthew Whitaker signaling that Robert Mueller's investigation may be close to being completed. He told reporters he's been fully briefed on the investigation. Mueller has been looking into possible Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. New information about the investigation comes as new bipartisan legislation was filed that would require Mueller to deliver his findings to Congress and the public. In Houston, 5 police officers are in hospital tonight. After serving a narcotics warrant, the police union says 4 of the officers were shot. 2 are in critical condition. The 2 others, and an officer who injured his knee, are in stable condition. The Houston police chief says the 2 suspects were shot and killed. British Prime Minister Theresa May is planning to hold a vote on February the 13th in Parliament on her Brexit deal. She's been working to gain back support after her deal was overwhelmingly rejected earlier this month. One of her big challenges is securing concessions relating to the border with Northern Ireland.
Some customers of Canada's biggest bank are upset over an error involving their mortgages. RBC told them they were signing up for what the bank called an accelerated payment, which allows them to pay down their mortgage faster. But now, as Aaron Saltzman explains, RBC says that's not what the customers actually signed up for.
Here you go, buddy.
With 2 young children and a very full house, life for Natalie Floyd is hectic enough, but recently it became even more complicated.
This is new to me, of somebody selling me something and then telling me, well, it's not really what we told you.
Last spring, when she and her husband renewed the mortgage on their home, they signed up for what RBC called an accelerated bi-weekly payment. That's a higher payment that shortens the amortization period, allowing you to pay off the house more quickly. Then, last fall, she got a letter from the bank.
It has come to our attention that some language in the agreement you signed when you renewed your mortgage may have been unclear.
The letter said her agreement stated that your payment type was accelerated, even though the mortgage payment you chose was not an accelerated payment type. It explained Floyd's payment and amortization period were correct and will not change. Floyd says had they known there was a bi-weekly option to pay down the mortgage more quickly, they would have chosen it and saved interest in the long run.
That's how I kind of feel about it. It was deceptive.
RBC declined an interview request. It issued a statement saying a limited number of clients' mortgage payments were incorrectly labeled. The bank says the payments, terms, and amortization periods remain the ones they selected. RBC wouldn't say how many people were affected, but said it regrets any client inconvenience. The government regulator that's supposed to look out for consumers when they have disputes with their bank refused to comment, citing an obligation to maintain confidentiality. Critics say that's not good enough.
And unfortunately, it leaves consumers thinking nobody cares about them.
That's how Natalie Floyd is feeling.
It's really hard to know what to do now when you go to renew, because, like, who do you believe, and are you getting the right information?
And next time, she says, she may look for a different lender. Aaron Saltzman, CBC News, Toronto.
Still to come on The National, MPs held question period for the first time today in their new digs.
This is a new building, so that's always a lot of fun to learn where to go, not to get lost, and to see how Parliament's going to work here.
Their first impressions are our moment of the day. But first, in case you missed it, today was one mean winter day across much of Canada. Happy Valley Goose Bay, cold. Ottawa, Toronto, and Montreal, also cold. Winnipeg, Saskatoon, and Fort McMurray, how is it this cold? And the ultimate ice cube, Geraldton in Northern Ontario, briefly the coldest place on Earth at 46 below with the wind chill. But all the while, folks in relatively balmy Vancouver strolled among their brand new daffodils.
When they are having weather like this, I feel very sorry for them.
Freezing? What's that?
And Victoria residents took in their beautiful cherry blossoms. That's right, it's been so pleasant out there. The city's cherry trees are blooming weeks ahead of schedule.
Well, I'll tell anybody that comes here 2 words: good move.
And sure, folks in central Canada spent much of their day prepping for a big storm, including this shorts-wearing former Manitoban, of course, who has some funny ideas about Ontario winters.
I mean, people in Winnipeg would understand.
But to all our friends in coastal BC, don't worry, enjoy your flowers. We're not jealous, not at all.
Long overdue for some D. I'm like 6,000 kegels away from any kind of D.
Then get squeezing. My trauma's an asset to you.
What is this?
It's a new campaign. What does it say to you?
You look like a pimp. Is that what you're going for?
I gotta take another pill. I can feel feelings again.
Are you all together?
Nope. Gut, nose, D.
You know, I've always wondered if...
I'm not lending you any money. What happened to all those gigs that you used to do? I blew the last of my savings on my Rude Guy t-shirts. I'll sell you this one if you want it. 30 bucks, 40, no, 50. No, you keep going up. $60.
Give a warm dobrodoshi to my red carpet gown for the Crow's premiere.
$3,700?
Does this mean that I should start thinking about my look for the premiere?
TBD on that guest list, Alexis, but I love your enthusiasm.
As MPs come back for a new sitting of Parliament, they find themselves working in a brand new setting. The House of Commons will meet in the West Block now, while Centre Block is under construction for like 15 years. Today was their first day in their new home, and from the good to the bad to the generally a little bit lost, we wanted to know MPs' reaction to their new workplace, and that is our moment of the day.
Today, members of the 42nd Parliament gather for the first time in this magnificent interim chamber.
Felt a tingling sensation that I was in an historic moment.
You know, it's a beautiful place to be in. The sound, a little bit you can hear from above. You can see everybody, and it was just really great to be in there.
A little bit of sadness, but a little bit of excitement because it's new, and I think that we're the first ones to sit here in West Block. So isn't that exciting?
Of course, it can't hold a candle to the real chamber, the real House of Commons. I feel like it's that movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's like, Honey, I Shrunk Parliament.
So my number one priority is the bathroom. Then it's the cafeteria, a good cup of coffee, that's important. And just, I guess, figuring out how to get around, which entrances are the best and everything. I think that's always a big challenge. But fortunately, they've given us these handy maps.
I will say this, I don't know how to hide from you guys yet. I don't know the way to avoid the media scrums, so,
We're going to try to keep that a secret for as long as
I'll
we
be
can.
exploring the back pathways in coming days.
So it is tight, I will say. I went up there last week to sort of orient myself. It's tight quarters, both for where we have to work and try and get clips from people. The chamber is tight and sort of mini, but it's also beautiful because they put 5,000 square feet of glass over what was an outdoor courtyard and then preserved all these beautiful walls on the inside. So it keeps all that architectural richness, and it is quite well done, I will say.
I gotta say, I just feel for those poor MPs. I love the earlier analogy that it's like the first day of school because we've all been there. We can all relate, just kind of struggling to find your way around. Except for them, I guess the added problem is that people like us are watching them and filming them and then airing the video on national TV and then, say, talking about it on the moment. You really feel for them.
I thought it was interesting to watch the MPs in those clips just seem normal. You know, we're so used to seeing the adversarial give and take in the scrum, so they actually just seem like, a side of them you see all the time, Rosemary, just ordinary people in a new situation. My favorite thing about their the new place that they're in is the new Prime Minister's or temporary Prime Minister's office apparently has a secret staircase that Alexander Mackenzie, the second Prime Minister, put in so that he could sneak in and out of his office. I don't know, I just love the idea of secret staircases.
Well, the other office, the Prime Minister's in the center block, had that secret area, right, where I guess they put TVs before, but sometimes the Prime Minister would stick one of his kids in there for fun. It's true, it's on Instagram. That's the National for January 28th. Good night.